it's very hard to understand the concept of time. It just seems to come and then it goes. I was watching a video today on what is time. I didn't really get a very good answer. Hello, NT. I see you. that for now. And then we will go from there. Give me a second. Okie dokie. Alright, so Astrodoodle's on the way. Let's double check. Yep, okay, we got that. Hey, West End. You just Venmo'd me. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Do I have a Venmo account? Do I have to have a Venmo account? Oh, did you see my comment on your post about the reading? Hold on, give me a second, West End. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, I understand. I think I do have a Venmo account. I'll just have to double check, but I'll take your word for it. All right, let's just put that on the board right now while we're here before I forget. Thanks, West End. I just couldn't read that word at first. Venmo'd. I know what Venmo is. I used to use it years ago. Yeah, okay. West End. Got it. Okay, I'll just put a note there, Venmo. So I'll check that up later on. I'm not going to do it now, okay? We'll sort it out. I'll just stick that there. I'll put it properly up in a little minute here, okay? Put that over here just for a moment. Oh, yeah, PayPal. Oh, okay. That's, well, you know, PayPal owns Venmo. And there's other ones like Cash App and Stripe and a few others. PayPal is much the biggest. There's Square, I think, yeah. Oh, thank you, Necessary. Yeah, okay. So actually, you know what? I want to add a little bit more orange here. This is orange, okay? I'm adding the orange because of the stress factors, okay? Stress factors. Alrighty, let me just see if I can just check in with everybody. Let's see, there's a few folks here. Good evening and welcome. Thank you for being here. And let me go over to... Alright, I've just finished the doodle. Just more or less finished it for now. Let me just check in. Yeah, here we are. Greetings, this is TarotLumination. Thank you very much for dropping by and visiting. It's a real pleasure to have you here. And it's just a miracle the little channel is still going. And so I thank you everybody for sticking with it for all these years. Yeah, happy Gemini new moon. I've got all sorts of notes here, so I'll come to that in just a little bit. Now, a lot of people get their different cash apps and payment apps all mixed up. No worries, it's perfectly normal. Hello, Path Traveler. Thank you for the video earlier about like reclaiming my spiritual center. I probably needed a little bit of that. You know, sometimes I get preachy. Remember how I used to get so preachy about how I would be the one who is helping people to do that, and maybe I forget, and maybe I'm the one who needs it now. Yeah. Yeah. So, good evening and welcome. Yes, it is. Well, the moon is actually already in Cancer, and in a few days... Actually, let me go back to the stage. Here. Alright, over here you can see the moon is already in Cancer, right over here. And we just had the Gemini new moon right here. Sun in Gemini, moon in Gemini. And in a couple days, guess what? The moon is going to be right here on this super hot spot. Venus and Mars have already moved beyond the hot spot, but the moon will be there for about, 4 to 8 hours, crossing the cusp here, opposing Pluto. So that could be a little bit nerve-rattling for some people. Very, very deep at the soul. I'm anticipating a very, very deep uneasiness that would be very hard to describe and put in words. But as you know, I love to blame the planets, and I'm looking at this axis here. Because Pluto, like we've said earlier, is right on the cusp. It's hovering on the cusp. It's been here for a long time. It's going to stay here for a long time. And let me just go up here a little bit closer. Now you can see it over here. There it is. Pluto's around 29 and a half, 3/4 degrees right now. So it's at the point of critical mass. We've talked about this before. It's going to be like this for the rest of the year and into early next year before it goes back to Aquarius. And during this time, we are going to see an incredible, mind-boggling unraveling of the elites and all the administration and the global rulers who want to take over the planet and turn it into one massive globalist regime. It's been planned for decades, and now their big moment is here. And for them to make it happen, they have to shove it right in your face so that you accept it. And then it becomes very, very obvious. Was it Path Traveler? Was it you, Path Traveler? Or was it Love Triber? Anyway, they showed me... Oh no, it was Love Triber, I think. And she showed me this. Let me just go back over here. She showed something to me that she got from her Telegram source from a lady called Laura Aboli. I've seen some of her items now, and they are truly eye-popping. The one I saw previously that I really loved was about all these singing dogs. I just absolutely loved it. It just opens up the heart. And the other one was Laura Aboli, or is it Aboli? Revealing, let me just go and double check it here, see if I can find it. Where was it? Where was she? Oh, I'm sorry, I lost it. I'm sorry, I really lost it. Okay, never mind. Okie dokie. All right. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. So what happened was, sorry, I got a little bit convoluted right there. So the singing dog videos was just absolutely beautiful, and because I'm very musical myself, not only were they just howling, almost all the dogs in this recording were playing with an accompaniment from a very, very gifted piano player, playing what sounded like improvised classical music. And in music, you know, you have these things called happy sounds and sad sounds, major chords, minor chords, and you have different harmonic structures in the way that music and tunes are constructed in a way that we hear it as music. You know, dramatic, happy, sad, chaotic, tumultuous, soothing, whatever it is. And almost every single dog, well, several of them were absolutely pitch perfect, in tune with the music. And they were actually singing tunes to the music. It was just the most delicious, heartwarming thing you can imagine. And in contrast, something very disturbing from the same lady, Laura Aboli, sent a long telegram link to show things about the latest Beyonce rock star, pop star girl tour. And it's this massive extravaganza of lights and music. I mean, I watched all the different clips, and what you start to realize is that it's social programming from the music industry using Beyonce as an instrument of satanic evil energy, being literally designed right there in your face to saturate your body, your mind, and your heart and your soul with this, I guess you could call it material, that the only way I can describe it is that it translates into satanic energy. And the idea, I believe, is, along with all the other, like these globalist agendas about how to take over the world, I've been watching all sorts of things about that, but basically they all come with the same thing about mind control, how to rip away your freedom, rip away your ability to think for yourself, cripple you financially, emotionally, spiritually, destroy family, destroy friends, destroy love, destroy religion, destroy faith, destroy freedom, destroy defense, all of those things, so that you become basically helpless and utterly dependent on the deep state, or the elites, whatever you want to call it. And it's a very, very well thought out strategy, but it's working. And the whole of Hollywood has been hijacked. I mean, I was working in Hollywood for like 20 plus years, and it definitely changed by the time I left Los Angeles. It was really, really in your face. Same thing with Disney. All these really very, very disturbing things going on inside America right now, because America is the ultimate bulwark, the ultimate firewall, and the last remaining threshold between the satanic elites and their desired agenda to take over the world, relative to the sanctity of freedom, privacy, the sovereign self. And pretty much every other country and population on Earth has already been infected, either by China or by the globalists, the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and all of that. It's no longer conspiracy theories anymore. It's just everywhere. It's now common knowledge. And so it's very, very hard for the media to censor a lot of this stuff. So they've had to stop. Google's had to stop some of its censorship. So I kind of feel vindicated. I also still feel very angry. But anyway, that's just one little thing I wanted to share. Let me just go through a few things. Oh, you got to see this? What's it? I don't remember the Beyonce songs, Necessary Truth. How can I do this? You know what? Maybe I can do one of these tricks like I did it with my tablet, and I can show you what I'm talking about. Please bear with me. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, it's... they lose. Yes, Path, I believe that they will lose. Right now, I associate with patriots, and there's about 75 million of us, and you know, in a country of 340 million, it doesn't sound much. Oh, what's the name of the... Oh, okay, I understand. Thank you, Pat. Let me see if I can find it. Actually, I can't do it on here. Dang. How can I do this? You know what? I might have to... It would have to be another day, another time where... It would have to be another day, another time where I do a pre-recorded video where I can do all sorts of things with screen shares that I can't do here. The whole way of creating and transmitting my live shows is very different from creating a video that I upload and then I share and you can watch it. So anyway, let me see if I'll try and remind myself of that, okay? Because it's an absolutely beautiful thing. Let's have a look. So let me go through my little list. You know, like I want to rant. I'm going to try and be, let's say, I don't know, what's the word? respectful of the community guidelines, because I am now monetized again. The thing is to get from where I am now to get to active monetization, where I can, get paid on the YouTube. I don't honestly know how I'm going to do it, because I'm so far down into a pit that I don't know if it's ever possible to recover. Anyway, we'll see. Let's have a look. Let's go over here for a second. Actually, let me talk about the chart just briefly. So here we are. Moon is in Cancer. Excuse me. So if you're feeling a little bit sensitive and woozy in your tummy, emotional or overly emotional, blame it on the planets. The moon is going to be right here on this cusp, and that's going to activate that big T-square again. It's going to be to do with global extreme power plays, mostly to do with violence, because it's kind of hard not to be. You see, the thing is, with the Mars transit here, that's been going on for many, many weeks now, the orb of influence is up to about 10 or 15 degrees on each side. So we're still deep in the opposition here, or towards the end of the opposition from Mars to Pluto, where, as predicted, there would be a massive increase of violence all across the world. Wars breaking out everywhere on a smaller scale, and of course the Ukraine thing getting much, much bigger and much more bloody and ugly and nuclear. And then, of course, the whole China threat becoming much more bigger and belligerent. So that's already in play, and it's still in play. The next thing is, going back to the eclipse many, many weeks ago, that axis here was activated, and it's still activated here. And again, it's a very long-term orb of influence, because it's pivoting. This axis here is pivoting around the hard squares with Pluto. I mean, I could even put it in here if you wanted me to. I could do that. And again, that's all to do with the global financial crisis, because we are going through these massive global financial convulsions where an old system is dying off, being eclipsed away with no going back, as a new system is being, let's say, imposed upon us. So it's like this is common knowledge now. The wars are common knowledge. China is just becoming extremely hostile, volatile, belligerent, and same thing with Russia. Nukes, nukes, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to do you. Anyway, let me go back over here. You've probably heard about this one. Over in Ukraine, there's the Burisma energy company, which is deeply involved with the Biden scandals of all the corruption and treason in the Biden crime family. Well, there are several whistleblowers in Ukraine. One was the president of Burisma, and the other one was the wife of the president, and the wife was actually the senior accountant over at Burisma. And she had declared to the FBI that she's ready to release all the financials on the Biden corrupt millions. And all of a sudden, interesting, she's dead. Just in the last couple of days. Interesting. Okay, the other thing of note here, of course, this is incredibly important. This is probably the most important thing in the universe right now. Aliens. They're right here in Las Vegas, in case you hadn't noticed. They actually landed a few blocks away from here, and they have it on video. And the local police have set up security cameras around the property to keep an eye on things, just in case the aliens come back. Okay? Excuse me, I think I'm going to gag. Now, the next thing I noticed is that in order to fund its war, China has decided it's going to go on a massive printing campaign for trillions of yuan. So it's just copying the American debt model of just destroying its own currency in order to print immediate trillions of yuan to fool the people and fool the rest of the world that they can afford to expand their military even farther. You have to remember their whole military is based on stolen technology from America and Western Europe. So it's kind of funny, really. Of course, as they print trillions, they're going to destroy their own internal economy, even though their internal economy in China is already imploding. It's just amazing to watch this whole country just go. It won't look like that from the outside because the CCP propaganda will not allow that. Next, I don't know if Precious is here, but a few days ago we did a show and Precious was there, a little bit nerve-wracked because her disabled child went into heart surgery that day. So I'm hoping we find out tonight how the surgery is going. We know that her child will be in the hospital for a few days after the surgery. We just talked about the new moon in Gemini, and I'm just going to leave it at that right now. It's actually very, very fortuitous for a fellow called Donald. And Donald, as you've probably noticed, I don't know if you care about these things, but I do. Donald is under extreme attack right now by the communist agenda, the communist Marxist administration in this country right now, hosted and operated by the Clintons, the Obamas, and the Bidens. But the more they try to attack him through the the Department of Justice, the stronger he gets, because it just looks more and more farcical in how the administration is just embarrassing itself with its own corruption. And everybody in the world can see it. I can talk more about the aliens, yes, necessary. Let me just get on with this thing a second. So the new moon is actually amplifying the power of Donald, because Donald is a very powerful Gemini with Sun and Mercury, I believe, and Uranus all in Gemini and the North Node. That's a very powerful alignment in the 11th house. So Donald is literally a man for the people. He is the voice of the people right now. He represents 75 million Americans and growing stronger. So I'm very happy to see this. And of course, the Mars in Leo is really helping Donald as well, because he is a Mars in Leo person with Pluto in Leo. So it's mind-boggling to see what's happening. On this, not just the global stage, but actually the smaller stage that we call the United States. Next thing I want to mention is I've got my 2A song. I call it my 2A song, my Second Amendment song. It's coming along quite well. And I've written it in such a way that it sounds sort of folksy, old-fashioned Americana, like it could have been written 250 years ago. And you'll get to hear it hopefully pretty soon. A couple of days ago, I had a mini stroke because of all the sun and the heat over here. I was trying to do some yard work, and it just killed me. And so I had to disconnect for the rest of the day because I was vomiting and pooping and puking and whatever, because it wasn't too serious, because it can get a lot worse than that, but it just reminded me that I'm so skinny and vulnerable to the heat and the sun, so I have to be super careful. Hello, Mr. Ross, I see you. Other things, I'll come back to the aliens in just a minute. The other thing is BlackRock. You've probably heard of them. They have about $11 trillion under management across the world. And they basically tell the banks and the politicians what to do and how to do it. The boss guy, Larry Fink, a little while ago, he was actually filmed in one of their meetings at the, was it Davos or wherever, but he was questioned about what are we going to do with all this ESG, environmental social governments, and all this woke garbage and the DEI, the diversity, equity, inclusion agendas that are being driven into these big corporations, especially around America and Western Europe, to promote these really bizarre, twisted agendas that make no sense in terms of business, but they are all about social engineering to try and create a tyrannical, choking grip on the population. And Larry Fink was basically saying, the people really won't like this. They wouldn't normally naturally choose this way of doing business, so we're just going to force it on them. So there you go. That's what we're dealing with at the very, 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 very top of the world system. The Russia-Ukraine war, of course, that's expanding and getting even more violent, like I've been showing you. It's just like this. Instead of like this, screw you, tens of thousands of people dead. Now it's like this. I'm gonna get you tens of thousands and tens more thousands of people dead. And if I have to, I'm gonna use a nuke. I won't use a nuke unless you threaten me. Well, we're not going to use nukes because that'll destroy the world. And we're not stupid enough to threaten you with nukes. Oh, but I know you are, because you don't like me. You just want to take over our country in Russia. And I don't like that. I want to take it all back. I want Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, Belarus, Poland, and Ukraine, and Crimea. I want it all. Well, you can't do that, and so on. It's just getting bigger and more belligerent. And then China is sticking its nose in. Turkey's sticking its nose in. It's getting ridiculous. It's just a massive... It's just like a forest fire. There's masses of dead kindling wood that's been built up for decades, and it's ready to go pop all over the world. There are so many places in Africa, in the Middle East, over here, all over here, all over here, all over here, that are all breaking out in wars like wildfires. It's escalating globally. I put that right here. See? To me, the real war is about money, because they're using the global currency system as a weapon now. The United States figured out how to do that over the last 30, 40 years, and they've done an excellent job. And everyone else in the world that's not America is sick of it. So we're kind of creating a backlash against America right now. That's why all these countries, up to about 100 countries now, are looking to join the BRICS to counter the American dollar. Okay, so it's going to get very, very strange, and that's going to take about a 20-year journey to unfold. So the CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, they're already being imposed in China, of course. It's basically financial slavery. It's the way they control you financially. The Fed now is coming, I think, is it July 1st? I don't know. But that's the first stages in America towards CBDCs and universal basic income and the destruction of the middle and working class. We already talked about the BRICS nations. It's all about creating financial slavery and tyranny and complete, absolute control using information. You've probably also heard the stories about how the FBI, the CIA, and all the intelligence agencies here in America are not allowed to gather all the data and spy on us, the American citizens, directly, because they need warrants. It's part of the Constitution. But how do they get around it? Well, guess what? Washington and the agencies, the spy agencies, they are now buying the information directly from the retail and consumer corporations that deal with all this information already in a sort of anonymous format. Like for Visa, MasterCard, banks, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, all online marketing and selling and trading for currencies, Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, whatever it is, Kroger's, whatever. So the Feds, CIA, FBI, they're all taking that information, NSA, and buying it. They're buying the information, and then when they want to, they can de-anonymize the information and get exactly whatever they want on you, the individual. And they're doing that illegally, without permission. Okay, it's highly, highly illegal, highly unconstitutional, but they're doing it. Heather, over there in Canada, I hope you don't have any fires. So over in America and Western Europe, inflation, well, that's actually happening everywhere on Earth now. And it's all, please understand, it's all planned out. The inflation and the taxation, it's all designed to cripple and choke we the people into submission so that the elites can do whatever they want, and we end up starved of our sovereignty and our sovereign wealth and our sovereign power. And one example that was actually started towards the end of last year, it's called Enbridge, and it's in association with the Bank of International Settlements. And what it is, it's essentially, what they're doing is essentially they're taking a certain couple of cryptocurrencies, and they're being used as tools that basically bypass the SWIFT system used by America and most of global trade. And they're turning it into an instantaneous global trade tool for a bunch of countries that are not inside America. And they haven't really implemented this thing yet, but they're very close to it. And the whole idea is to create a much more modern, advanced, and fast system of globalized transaction through the Bank of International Settlements. Remember, the BIS is the Bank to all central banks. So the Bank of International Settlements is very, very high up at the very top of the pyramid of power, along with BlackRock and Vanguard and the Council on Foreign Relations, United Nations, the World Health Organization, and all that crowd, and the World Economic Forum. So just be aware that this stuff is very evil and it's happening, and they're trying to spread it all over the world like peanut butter. So sticky and we can't get out of it. Alright, so the aliens. Okay, so I'm sorry folks, I don't believe in aliens, but you have to admit it's such a tempting story. So anyway, you've probably seen it all over the media and entertainment now. There's also all sorts of movies and storylines coming out about aliens and UFOs. Okay? And they even had one here in Las Vegas, and they've shown video clips, and you could hear the 911 calls of the family calling up 911. Hello, this is whoever here in up in Northeast Las Vegas, and there's something in our backyard. Something in our backyard. I don't know what it is. It just landed here. It's in the backyard. And there's two guys. Oh my God! These guys are like 10 feet tall. I don't know what they are, man. Hey, Dad, come out here. Have a look at this. There's aliens in our backyard. Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, that's all recorded, and it's all in the local news, and it's on YouTube. I think somebody had a little bit too much mezcal, or they were hallucinating on mushrooms, or maybe they had a little bit, I don't know, maybe they just like aliens and they're just looking for any, I don't know. And one guy called Mr. MBB333 analyzed the video, and he said there's definitely something there, and it sort of looks tall, and it looks like it's moving. Okay, you want me to give you my take on it? I'm sorry to disappoint you, all you aliens lovers. Right now, in the United States, pretty much in every major city, there's in total about 300,000 of these people, and they are organized robbers from Chile down south, and they've come through the border, and they've been doing this for a long time, but on a very small scale. Now they're all over America, and what they do is they do good old-fashioned burglary. They go around neighborhoods and they just scan, and they hang out in cars looking very, very inconspicuous. But like all classic old-fashioned burglars, what they do it at nighttime, and they dress up in these outrageous costumes that make you look very tall, and they're covered in things like bushes and leaves, and they have strange appendages to make you look very ambiguous. Okay? And these criminals walk around in that stuff to stake out properties and look around to see if there's anything that they can steal. Something big, expensive, easy. Maybe just bust down a gate and drive out with a really hot pickup truck or a Mercedes or something. And this particular property had a lot of very expensive industrial gear. Anyway, and there's drone footage. So are these things connected at all? I'm just giving you my theory. So also just imagine, add the imagination of the young kid who spotted everything. And then there's the father who comes out, who's looking, what is that? And then there's the thing in the background, like this. Frankly, it doesn't look like anything significant because it's too dark. But anyway. Oh, necessary work for the tabloids for 3 years. That's fantastic stuff. So yeah. Also, I'm sorry, but there's stuff all over YouTube. It's all over Google. It's all over my phone, my tablet. And they're showing like archaeological digs. We've just discovered an alien helmet costume from 7,000 or 10,000 years ago under the ocean. Oh no! Oh, we just had a photograph from a cricket game in India, and there's this poor innocent guy watching the game, but he doesn't realize that an alien came and sat next to him with big buggy eyes trying to watch the game as well. Whoa. Oh, okay. And of course all the movies and everything. Frankly, there's one that's coming out. I think it's all about social programming. It's designed to get Americans and the whole world used to the idea that, of course, there's aliens. And it's all about messing with your brain to the point where your brain is literally jello. And you will believe anything that the mainstream media and Hollywood and the Marxist elites tell you. So that you have nothing left in here anymore and you become a slave. Okay? Just a completely dumbed down slave. Okay? Actually, necessary, there wasn't actually an alien ship. Well, sorry, excuse me. There was a very small asteroid, or whatever you call it, shooting star, that preceded the guy in the backyard. The thing is, these in Las Vegas, sometimes you get very clear skies, even though there's a lot of lights here. And believe me, if you've been out into certain parts of the world where there is no air pollution, you can see millions and millions of stars, and you realize very quickly that asteroids and shooting stars are very, very common. They just go, okay? Yeah. I mean, seriously, necessary, we could actually create a tabloid ourselves. We'll just make up outrageous stories. Beyonce is an alien. Did you know that? She's actually an alien. She's programmed with AI. The AI was originally designed by Elon Musk, who is actually an alien leader. I know. Don't tell anyone. You're not supposed to know that. God. Seriously. Elon is here to prepare us for the awakening, for the ascendance. I'm an astrologer, okay? I'm just going to confess to you. You don't have to believe anything I say, but it's actually it's the only access to truth that there is. This is the only truth out there because the stars and the planets do not lie. It's pure, pure energy. But everything else, you can make it up and fudge it and twist it around. All the lies. Path Travelers just says here, Beyonce claims she is taken over, like possessed when she performs and doesn't remember a thing. Well, I would agree. I would totally agree, given the video material that Love Triber showed to me yesterday. It was very, very, very disturbing. Extremely disturbing. And of course it leads me into this very murky area where I just don't want to risk talking about it, but it's all to do with those very, very, very dark subject matters that are normally unthinkable. But okay, I'm just not going to talk about it. Okay. All right. All right, so okie dokie. Okay, I'm going to scratch this one out here. Give me a second. Where's my Sharpie? No, it's true actually, Pat. You cannot fake astrology. How you interpret astrology is, of course, a different thing. But, like, okay, look at it here. Let me try to describe something earlier that I was watching. So early today, I've been up since about 4:35 a.m. so I can enjoy some cooler weather. Then I go out. I have my little decaf at McDonald's. It's 65 cents. And I'm very, very happy with that, obviously. It's within my budget. Today I broke my habit and I went to my first Starbucks since I've lived in Las Vegas. And I paid $3.85 for a coffee that honestly I did not enjoy as much. But I did it for the hell of it. I just wanted to prove to myself that my life is not over and that if I want to, I can go to Starbucks and have a cup of coffee. I also bought an apple fritter, which is like a very rich, thick donut, and I ate it there. And I didn't ask for permission. So I felt really good for a while, and then I did the math. My 1 cup of coffee at Starbucks cost me the equivalent of, what was it, 4.8, 5.8 coffees at McDonald's. So, anyway, I got distracted there. Earlier, I was trying to educate myself. I wanted to sound more scientific and more plausible, so I didn't sound like a crackpot astrologer. And so I just started to watch things about planets, and Mercury and Venus and Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter, and the Voyagers and new Voyagers and things exploring into the universe and way, way out into the solar system. And it was just beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. And I kept thinking, like, you know what? They have an ephemeris just like I do. And they use it to calculate the orbits and the pathways for their new Voyagers. And so for this particular one that was sent all the way to Pluto, they realized it's going to take, 7, 8, or 9 years to get there, something like that. But on the way, they thought, let's make it an interesting journey. And in the last couple of years, of course, it's been very, very active because the new Voyager made it to Pluto and beyond. And it was just an amazing discovery that Pluto is right there exactly as defined in the ephemeris. Okay? It's precision charting down to the fraction of a degree about where it is orbiting in our solar system. It was fantastic for me to see that validated. Now, again, to do with the gravity of the planets, out of all the planets in our solar system, apart from the sun, which is a star, Jupiter has the biggest gravitational field because it's so huge. Like, Jupiter is this round compared to Earth, which is about this round. Mercury is about this round. Pluto is about this round. Saturn is out here. Neptune is out here. Uranus is kind of out here. But the hard, rocky inner planets like Mercury, Venus, Mars, Earth, they're all hard, heavy, small rocks. Anyway, New Voyager, you could see the path, or they charted it out with NASA, or wherever they're coming from, you know, or whoever shoots off the space thing from the Atlas V rocket. They used Jupiter as a slingshot to accelerate the New Voyager craft. The New Voyager craft is about the size of a small SUV with a couple of solar panels on the side. It's not that big and it's not that heavy. But it travels at about 52,000 miles an hour. Okay? But it needed to go bigger and faster and farther. So what they did was the NASA folks used Jupiter and the gravitational pull of Jupiter to get the Voyager, New Voyager, to go like this. Zoom around Jupiter and go wow. And it worked. And so it started to go really fast, way out into the solar system, all the way out to Pluto. It skipped past Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Took a bunch of pictures along the way, but eventually it kind of focused on Pluto. Pluto, okay? Henry Bryant. Oh, what's that? What am I? Hello, Henry. I don't recognize the name. I've never seen you before, but you sound very smart. Look at that. You look like, I see a tiny, tiny little picture in my chat on the screen here. You look like a professor. Wow. Maybe you're like a physicist or something. Gravity is with mass, not size. Jupiter has the highest mass. Wow. I didn't know. I thought it was to do with size. I don't have all the exact charts with me right now, but I just find it fascinating. Like when I was a little kid, I was very, very blessed as a child. I had a mom and a dad who absolutely adored me, even though they were highly fractious as a couple themselves. So I had amazing things. I had my chemistry set. I had a science lab. I had like a building and construction kit, sort of like an advanced Lego. I had my spirographs. I had amazing string puppets for my live theater. And those puppets are probably very valuable now as collectibles, but they're long gone. Very, very sad. And so, along with my childhood, I had the most awesome bicycle. I had the most awesome tricycle. I had my little red cart. And, oh God, I had a wrench and a screwdriver and everything. And I showed my dad how I could take apart my amazing tricycle and put it all together again, better than what it was before. And I would tune it up with oil and everything. And I had a telescope. I had binoculars. And I was a really, really happy little kid, so long as they kept getting me all my toys. And then when I got to school, and there I realized, oh, I can study math, physics, chemistry, and biology that was really cool stuff to me because I didn't really fully understand it and I wanted to know. And while I got into that, I joined what they called the Astrophysics Society. And they had a much bigger telescope, and we could go after class and we would talk with scientists and astronomy teachers. And I was just fascinated by all this stuff. And maybe those were like the seeds of why I ended up being an astrologer today. The thing is, deep inside what I discovered is that really I'm actually an artist and a writer and a musician, but I was never successful. I had a lot of fun, but I never so-called made it. Almost. I could have made it, but it means I would have had to join the same cult as Beyonce. And that's what I was forced to do. I was heavily, heavily pressured to, let's say, comply with certain types of behavior in order to sign contracts that would kind of indoctrinate me into a network where I would be highly, highly privileged and basically get red carpet treatment. But the thing is, you had to, let's say, behave in ways that my soul discerned as being highly despicable, very unhealthy. I would say today, as an adult, I would say demonic. So I didn't do it. So I had my chance. But anyway, yeah. Patrick, Silver? Who's Silver? So who are these new people? Hello, Henry. Howdy, howdy, howdy. You're obviously a smart dude. You are talking all facts. Ha! Wow! Thank you, Henry. Thank you so much. Because sometimes I wonder, you know. Have you ever seen the channel Suspicious Observers? He does like a 2-minute video every morning about all the sun and the planets and everything. And he advises people like, seriously, don't worry about climate change because the climate's always changing. You know, on Earth, there was a time when the Earth was a complete ice ball. There was a time when the whole of Earth had no ice at all. It was just a steaming tropical swamp. And it goes back and forth. It goes back and forth. It gets chilly. It gets hot. It gets chilly. It gets hot. And a lot of that is based on how the sun is behaving at any moment in time. Oh, man. And Silver Edge 99. Ooh, that sounds like a really special car. Matter has an upper limit of density before it becomes degenerate. Oh! So it's sort of both mass and size. I love that. Can I read that again, if you don't mind? Matter has an upper limit of density before it becomes degenerate. Folks, we have 2 scientists in our midst this evening. Let's respect that. I hope I don't get myself into too much trouble. So, dear Silver Edge, wow, literally Silver Edge, you sound like a really cool type of double cab extended pickup truck with a monster engine, highly collectible from the year 1999, like in the Peterson Museum. You know, back in the day it would have been a $40,000 truck, but today it would be probably worth $250,000. Yeah. So what I was going to say is that, dear Silver Edge, and let me go back, I got to check this chat. I've never had a situation like this before. Dear Henry and dear Silver Edge, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I make these things called astrodoodles. And these are my little attempts at works of art. I should have kept every single one of them and put them in the Tate Gallery or something, or something like that. Because they are literally works of art. And I'm now going to show you one of them, and you will see what I'm talking about. Alright, so here are my notes for this evening. This is my ephemeris, which shows the definition and movement of the planets as they whiz around the universe, but we use it here in astrology for from a different perspective, but it's the same data. So you, Silveridge and Henry, you're probably aware of it right now. Pluto is at 0 degrees. Of course, it means nothing in terms of the orbit. From an astrologer's point of view, this is an extremely important moment in the time frame of the Pluto cycle, which is about 248 years to do one orbit. Same thing with over here. This is a very, very important moment in the astrology where Saturn turned retrograde, so it looks like it's going backwards from Earth. And so all these things are, I like to mark out significant things on my ephemeris. But anyway, gentlemen, Henry and Silveridge, have a look at this. This is my astrodoodle. And this is my rendition of where the planets are, what they're doing, what they're up to, and why things are stressful and why things are harmonious. And this is just pure, raw information. It's not good or not, it's not bad. It just is what it is. And I like to think that these planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they all have a gravitational pull, they all have an orbit, and they not only have a gravitational pull on Earth, but they have a gravitational pull and effect on each other. Okay? And those are, I think, my personal feeling is that we feel all of that here on Earth. Just in the same way that whales have sonar, birds have kind of sonar, things like that, and we feel it. And if those natural waves are messed up or perverted or interfered by humans, then you get whales that wash up on the beach dead. Or you get birds that end up somewhere that they shouldn't be and then they die. You know, it's very sad. But anyway, so with this particular astrodoodle for today, I'm talking specifically to Silveridge and Henry, I mark these as highly stressful energies over here and over here. And this represents the energy of the what's called the North Node, which is going to change very soon. Anyway, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I just wanted to show you that I make these astrodoodles. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, hey, Silveridge, I see a little tiny icon in the chat. It looks like you're holding a lute. You look sort of like Tucker Carlson. Yeah. Wow. We are in the presence of greatness, people. We have scientists here. We have scientists in our midst. Hold on, there's more. I'm missing on the chat. Give me a second over here. I want to. God, my God, what an interesting evening over here. I got to catch up with the chat. Give me a second, folks. I lost it. Where was I? Silveridge, it says here. Degenerate matter is really cool stuff because it actually contracts when heated rather than expands like normal. You see matter like that in neutron stars. Really? Whoa, man. Wow. Hey, West End. Oh, you're having a little vino myself. I don't take alcohol anymore. The doctors told me that I have to stop taking alcohol. I've been an alcoholic, a very serious alcoholic. I was left for dead. I was hospitalized. My liver was destroyed. I looked like I was pregnant with twins, and the doctor said, "We can't help you." So they called up my friends and family and said, just take him home and just make him feel comfortable until he dies. You need to put your affairs in order. Have a wonderful life. Thank you very much. But I didn't die. I did recover. My immune system and my will to live took over. It was a brutal battle. No alcohol for 5 years, and then I started up again. Anyway, I got cancer and all sorts of things and other hideous diseases. And last year in June, it's almost 11 months ago, the doctor said, you need to stop alcohol. Okay? Some of you know I love my whiskey. I love my beer. I like to have a really nice red wine. It's all gone. Now I live off water and a little bit of coffee. They said you need to start drinking a little bit of coffee every morning. You're too lean. Your blood pressure is too good. Your pulse is too good. You're an old man, but you've got the numbers of an athlete. So there's something wrong here. So you need to eat more salt, and you need caffeine, and you need to stop alcohol. So that's where we are right now. Okay? So, West End, I understand you. I just want to let you know I'm not drinking alcohol. It's actually a little bit of iced tea with ice. It's very interesting to have a couple of guys here who are like scientists. I don't know anything about neutron stars. I don't know anything about black holes. I mean, I was really into astronomy when I was a kid, but now I'm into astrology, which is more to do with like how the soul interprets these gravitational energies and how you can choose your behavior. You don't have to be, let's say, a victim of the energy. The energy doesn't have to own you. Of course, it can be very, very strong. Like when you have a stellium. God, we're really getting deep into it here tonight. Thank you guys for showing up. Like when you let me go over. Oh, this is sorry. I'm getting a little excited right now. Now we don't have them at the moment right now. Not too much, but if some of you remember, a few months ago we had a very heavy stellium over here in Taurus. We had Jupiter, Uranus, Sun, Moon, and whatever else, North Node, and it was in hard aspect. And then we had the full moon eclipse, we had the new moon eclipse, and all of that stuff. But when you get these clusters, okay, especially when it's 4 planets or more, it creates an incredibly strong pull, sort of like how the moon pulls the oceans in what we call the tide. So can you imagine that gravitational pull on those planets to themselves and onto the planet Earth and onto every single individual here on planet Earth? Now right now the planets are a little bit more spread out, so those stress factors are not so extreme. But every now and again it does happen where you get a cluster, and that's where the gravitational pull or push becomes very extreme. I had to share that because I'm an astrologer. That's what we do. All right, let's have a look. I got to get back over here. Give me a second, guys. I'm really kind of excited that we've got scientists. Oh, yeah. I honestly, it sounds weird because I was an alcoholic. I called alcohol as part of my healthcare plan because it would relax me, it would help me go to sleep. I'm very, very hyper and wired by birth, okay? So I didn't ever really need much in the way of caffeine. And so in order to have what I would consider a normal life, I would take alcohol because it would make me more mellow. But that apparently was unacceptable for my health conditions, so I had to stop. And so I stopped, and I just made a decision. Okay, I'm going to stop. I didn't suffer any kind of withdrawal or alcoholic I didn't have any of that. I just decided, okay, that's it. Done. That was it. I started sipping things like 7-Up, ginger ale, a little bit of Coca-Cola, carbonated soda water, tonic water. Okay. But in the end, what I like is really clean, pure water with a little bit of ice, and that's about it. I like a little bit of iced tea. I like my coffee. I don't really drink much of anything else anymore. Just water and more water. All right, come on. Let's get on with the show. I'm supposed to be giving a reading here. Let's see now. Now, West End, you put some notes in way early. Give me a second. I'm going to have to go up in the chat. Oh, give me a second. I got to go up here in the chat to find out where the hell, where were your notes here, West End? Okay, I'm reading from the notes here, West End. I want to see what's going to happen with my landlord. She wants to possibly raise my rent and not honor our agreement we had for X amount of rent, and has hired a property. Oh, nasty little strategy from the... Oh. Nasty. Nasty. Well, I got a few comments already that if you don't mind. And so, honestly, West End, about clarification, if you want to throw in some more, sometimes it's better if I don't know. Sometimes it's better, like, the less I know, the more I am able to just be, like, just a pure instrument. All I am is an instrument of the healing power of love. All I do is open my body, mind, heart, and soul so that the energy of love, which is a live, living vortex of energy, can enter the body. You own it, and you live accordingly, and then you can share it outwards. In other words, you be love. You choose to be love. First of all, you invoke the healing power of love. You bring it into your body from up above. You own it, and then you live by example, which ultimately means be loving and be loved. Now, how you define love, that's a whole other thing, but essentially it's pure physics. Be loving and be loved. And when people go around living their lives like, well, as soon as anybody really loves me the way I deserve to be loved, then I'm going to love you back. It doesn't work that way. That's the laws of attraction trying to be flipped up in reverse, okay? All right, West End, let's just do your reading. Come on, let's get on with this. You're going to do, you paid good money, so let's just get on with it. I'm going to put everything aside. We're going to actually do your reading, okay? All right, gentlemen, physicists, scientists, please bear with me because we're going to do spooky stuff now. It's called tarot readings. So I'm going to put all these things aside for a moment. We do a live mini tarot reading for West End. I'm done with my colored crayons, so we'll stuff these away over here. Put those away onto the desk. Put this stuff over here. Put these over here. Move all this over here. I don't need that. We don't need that. Alright, West End, we got a live mini reading for you tonight. I've got room for another 1 or 2 readings if anyone's interested. You just, okay guys, let me just do my little thing here. So if anyone's out there right now, you've never done this before, or if you're a regular, you know what to do. But if there's new and you've never done it before and you want to have a live mini reading now tonight, what you do is on some device, you find a way and you go over here. You go to TarotLumination.com. Click the donate page, click the donate button. A payment processor comes up. You swipe a debit, credit card, whatever, and it comes over here almost immediately. And then you get your reading. Henry Bryant, yes. Henry, I would be honored. I would be absolutely honored. Now, I do things by donation here. My channel is in... I have a distressed channel, okay? Let's just be honest. It was kind of crushed at the end of 2018. Things were very different back then for my channel. And to cut a very long story short, the algorithm was, let's say, modified in such a way that It's been impossible. Even with professional YouTube optimizers, it's been impossible to grow the channel anymore. And so it's like on a very, very tight chain. And it's very frustrating. And so I have to resort to asking for donations, okay? So people typically put in 10, 20 bucks, something like that. And it takes any card, you know, Visa, MasterCard, whatever. I guess Discover. I don't know if it takes American Express. Anyway, so Henry, that's how that works. And let's have a look. I'll put that over here. But in the meantime, if you want to, just sit by and enjoy and watch while I do the reading for West End. Now, she's very concerned about her living situation. So I'm going to use a version of the Rider-Waite deck. It's a very classic deck. And this deck was interpreted by a wonderful artist. I think she's in Austria. I can't remember. But it's the same deck. I don't do reversals. I'm not doing any oracles or anything like that. But West End. We're going to examine your situation. Okay, let's go back over here. Let's get on with it properly. Okay, so West End. If you don't mind, what I'd like to do is translate your, reinterpret or restate, repackage your question. Okay, you should see me pretty soon. I've gone straight over to the stage so that we can start to do the readings. Okay? So anyway, typically, this is a tarot deck, okay? It's full of these beautiful, beautiful cards, okay? It's all random. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've done thousands of readings to people all over the world. In my TarotLumination heyday before 2018, 2019, I was doing a lot of shows, a lot of videos, a lot of readings, but that's kind of all been crushed. And now we just do mostly Sunday nights and a couple things during the week. I still do private readings. I'm very active with private readings, but that's a whole different thing. You can see that if you go to TarotLumination.com. And we go much, much deeper into it. We bring the astrology and the tarot together. And it's all done through my Zoom Pro system. And you get a file and you keep it. And it's very substantial in case you guys are interested. Anyway, let's do this. So, dear West End, we need to do a diagnostics. We're going to use our situational spread here, custom spread from TarotLumination. What's happening with me staying in here? Will she and I work it out like it's supposed to be here, or is it time for you to move on? You've been so happy here. Okay, so West End, you're probably aware that a lot of landlords and property owners are in deep trouble if they have, let's say, been running their real estate and their property and their rental properties on the margins. In other words, if they've got loans and mortgages that they have to support through the process of collecting rent from tenants, and their mortgage is in distress, then what's happening is that a lot of landlords are seriously jacking up their rents by 20, 30, and more percent just to try and keep up with the recalibration of the loans so that they can keep their own properties. And so just like, you know, wholesalers and retailers, they pass the price on to the buyer, which would be you, the renter. And of course, it's ridiculous because most renters cannot afford, let's say you're paying $1,000 a month, and then they suddenly want $1,400 a month. That's an outrageous demand. But a lot of banks are putting a lot of pressure on property owners to do that. And there are some massive problems in the American commercial real estate markets right now. And there are massive expansions in the world of foreclosures right now. Whoa, hold on, let me read that. I don't know if I'm living here is going to keep me newly toxic. She owns 33 properties, all free and clear. Her husband died and she's old and just being crotchety. Well, if she owns the properties free and clear, she has no need or reason to raise the rent unless she has an orgy of life of high expenses, even if she's old and crotchety and she just wants more money because she's greedy. So, I don't know. That would be very, very hard to handle. Let's just have a look, okay? Let's examine the situation. Let's bless this deck, bless every single card, and let's see what comes up. Okay, West End? I have different perspectives to a lot of property owners and renters because I live in a way that's not very common. So I see things differently. But I'm also very, very aware what homeowners and properties have to deal with, property owners have to deal with. I'm also very aware what renters have to deal with. All right, let's have a look. Okay, what messages do we have here for West End regarding her tenancy at this place where she's been very happy for years, for 3 years? She's concerned about whether she should come or stay or go, maybe pay a huge increase in rent, or maybe give up and pull out and find somewhere more affordable. I don't know. Let's have a look. Cards are shuffled. Let's bless the whole freaking thing, frankly. Let's bless the cameras, the lighting, all the multiple layers of software running simultaneously. Bless the deck, the cards, the wires, the cameras, the lights, the computers, the monitors, microphones, everything, okay? That gives us the amazing privilege to do this little show. Here we go. All right, West End, let's have a look. What do we got coming up for you? For guys, for Silver, Henry and Silver 99, this is my situational spread. Think of it as a diagnostic tool, just like you go to AutoZone because your car is acting up and they give you a free diagnostic, okay? Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it, okay? Think of this as diagnostics, okay? They have a situation room at the White House. And every now and again, the administrations go down in there like, well, what are we going to do, folks? We got a situation here. What are we going to do? Huh? What are you going to do? Tell me, what are we going to do? No, I don't like that. Tell me something else. What are we going to do? I don't like what you said. You tell me, what are we going to do? Oh, I like what you said. Let's do that. Okay? So that's my situational spread. Some of you know that I have a direct link with the White House. Whoever's there. All right, so this is all about you, West End, but these are external influences. I usually default to the planets, but let's have a look. So we've got the Lovers. Okay, so we're dealing with very heavy emphasis on the phenomenon of decision making. Am I with you? Am I without you? Can I be with you or should I not be with you? Do you love me? Do you love me not? Does she love me? Does she love me not? Should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go now? Should I stay or should I go now? Whew. Let me see if I can find the correlation here. Decisions, decisions, decisions. Well, in some ways, it's lucky that you came here tonight because we do have this very sweet trine sextile thing going on here, which probably is going to make it easier for you to deal with your situation, even if it's very challenging for you. The challenges are very, very real because you still have this fat energy here, which is hyper stressful, okay? And, if this has been going on for some time, especially during the direct opposition with Pluto and Mars, it could have got very, very contentious, okay? To the point where, you know, she could, I'm not saying get violent, but very, very, like you said, crotchety. So there's you trying to live your sweet life, and there's her jacking up the rent because, I don't know, she's bored or greedy or whatever. So you are left in a situation where it's kind of all up to you. In other words, it's almost like whatever she does is what she does, and it really all comes down to, well, how are you going to respond? Is there room for a negotiation? Is it a complete, absolute hard fix, like the rent's going up, that's it, take it or leave it, stay or go, you choose? It looks from my view here that it's very much in your court. And it would be very nice to have a sweet, harmonious relationship between you and the landlord, property owner. But it sounds like if she is bringing in property management team, it's because she's old and crotchety and she can't handle the business herself anymore. So typically what happens when you bring in a property management team, they have to find a way to squeeze more money out of the existing business model so that the property management team can start to stuff their pockets. Okay? So it might not even be the will of the little old lady. It might be the property management team that's squeezing everybody because they can. And they just don't care. If you don't like it, get out. All right, let's have a look at the situation. Okay, so we got the Ace of Swords here. Now, this is a card of sacred opportunity. It's very much to do with the mental processes. It's very much to do with truth versus lies. It's very much to do with universal truth as opposed to subjective truth. In other words, what is real and what is not real. And oddly enough, the way I interpret this for you, West End, is that this might be a golden opportunity for you to see with extreme clarity your life being presented to you through the mirror of relationship. Sometimes it's very, very uncomfortable. Okay, you got notes here. My concern is how toxic will it become with her property management and her mindset. I am just not sure how far she was willing to go with and demands. I just don't know what path is coming up. I've just shared with you my opinion is that it's very possible that you've got a greedy, hostile property management company that is, let's say, interloping in the relationship here. Okay, like interference. And they're going to exploit the little old lady and all of her properties, and they're going to try and run the whole property business as if they are the owners of the property. I'm just giving you my impressions that I'm sensing right now, and that puts you in a position where it doesn't even matter what the little old lady says, because my feeling is that it's all about the property management company, and this is like a very serious wake-up call to about some of the really rude facts of life regarding what can happen in what might have previously been a very sweet, comfortable situation. I've seen these kind of situations before, okay? And things can, from going very sweet, can turn very, very ugly. So there are some property management firms that specialize in a very aggressive property management, purely for the money, for themselves, and then giving the owners their bit. Now let's have a look. What are the challenges here? Okay, with the Hierophant, it makes me feel like some of the challenges is that there might be some legal paperwork, documents, and agreements that are actually very, very solid and that could be very protective of you and your situation, but you might not be aware of it because it might be in the small print. So you might be experiencing a bit of fear regarding any of this subject. In other words, if you are not aware of the minute details of your rental agreement, you might easily be victimized by very aggressive property managers. However, that could be fear, because it might also be that buried deep inside your tenancy agreement, there might be some clauses that are actually very protective for you, and they give you a certain line of defense. And a lot of people don't want to deal with all the legalities of this stuff because it can be very, very stressful, especially when things get hostile. Okay, so I can see from your notes here that you're dealing with some nasty people. So what I would recommend, this also could represent homework that you might have to do yourself that you might really resent doing. I'm going to be really honest here, West End. If you want to, if you can go find a free legal aid center somewhere, plead poverty and tell them, hi, I'm in a really desperate situation all of a sudden. I don't know what to do. This is my rental agreement. Is there anything in here that gives me really solid protections? Because I now feel threatened by some very nasty new property managers. And you just want to be happy. And then having to face and go into something like this is very uncomfortable and scary. All right, now let's have a look. How are we going to deal with this? Okay, jump in. Literally just jump in. No fear, no apologies. Follow your guts, follow your instincts. I would get professional legal advice. You could do anything like, here's my example. Here's an example of a scenario. You go to a local legal aid, for people who are indigent, and you plead poverty. You say, hey, listen, you go right up to the front desk and the team says, hello, how can we help you? And you can tell, I'm here for legal aid. I got a really dire situation with my property and rental situation. And you have it. So, West End, you would have it all prepared in just a couple of sentences. I've been a good tenant. I love the owners. She's got 33 properties, but there's a new property manager and they're being very abusive. I'm really scared. They're trying to jack up my rent unfairly. They're trying to threaten me, throw me out. What are my rights? How do I defend myself? Here's a copy of my rental agreement. What do I do? Okay? Do you see what I'm talking about, West End? Everything I did just then was like a bit of acting. Just rehearse those lines exactly as I just did them and act in front of the mirror like, oh. And then see what the legal aid people tell you. And they might give you like a free half-hour consultation. They might take a quick glance over the document. They might say, well, man, you've got a nice agreement, but these people, they are out of line. You do not have to. So that you might get also all sorts of tips. West End, you are potentially in a very strong position. You've got the Ace of Swords on your side, okay? That's the energy of truth, honesty, and extreme purity and clarity of mind. Seize this moment and flip it around so that you're not a victim. You don't have to be a victim in this situation, but you have to work through the process, because if you love that place and you want to stay there and you want to continue to be happy, you might have to go through some very aggressive, hostile conditions. Okay, so just beware, okay? Especially if you're on disability, you have a lot of protections and rights. Okay? Remember that. Those nasty property managers are going to have a war on their hands if they try to take you down. Okay? That Ace of Swords is very powerful. Okay? So I hope this helps you. I'm not saying West End you're in, West End you're out. All I'm saying is that you're in a situation you're going to have to decide. The only way to decide is to live through what we just talked about here fearlessly. You must be absolutely fearless and understand that you have powerful rights. You even have squatters' rights. You have tenants' rights. Property managers can do really despicable things. I'm just letting you know. And they do not have to destroy your life if you don't want them to. So don't let them, okay? I'm telling you, you're in a strong position. You can defend yourself. The question is, do you want to? That's the decision. But the energy is there. It's very supportive for you to help you reach your decision. Like maybe this is a war that's not worth fighting, you know? Maybe it is worth fighting, but only you can decide that. All I'm doing here with this reading is laying out a scenario that you might not have considered before, but now we've got some clarity here. Okay, let me just check, West End. If Henry Bryant cannot afford to donate, I'll donate for him. Let me go check up something. I've got to see what Henry's up to. Give me a second here, folks. I got to do some homework. I'll be right back. Clickety click, clickety click. No, I don't see any donations here. Let me just reload something. No, I don't see it. If Henry was going to donate and get a reading, he probably would have done it by now. Maybe he's not in a position, or maybe he just got scared and thought, "Oh, I just watched your reading. I don't want to go through that stuff." Well, I don't know if he's even still here. Let's have a look. Let me just check in with everybody here. So, let's have a look. Mr. Bryant, if you're still here, where I see the, okay. Yes. Yeah. So, I have a feeling we scared Mr. Bryant away. I didn't mean to. Probably thinks I'm a complete crackpot. But anyway, so if Mr. Henry Bryant is here and he really cannot afford to donate, and you really do want to donate for him, and he is here and he's willing to receive, then sure. But West End, please don't donate anything if Henry's already bailed out, disappeared. I'm sorry if you're still here, Henry, or if I scared you off, I'm sorry. Maybe this is not your thing. I don't know. What's the... You want to do another reading for yourself? I don't think I've ever done that before. I guess we could. Why not? Yeah. I need every penny I can get right now. There were, in my glory days, you know, I was traveling a lot. I visited New Zealand for months on end. I kept my channel going. I sort of lived on a burnout kind of agenda, but I was so happy because my channel was doing well. I was growing by 1,000 subscribers per month. And then it all crashed down. Okay, I'm just checking in on the chat on the monitors over here. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, why not? I'm even going to give you another magic post-it note. How about that? Oh. Ooh. All right. Huh. Okay, we'll hang around. Let me see. Let's go over here. Okay, I'm going to shuffle up the deck here. No, I'm more than happy to, West End. I mean, I have done multiple readings in a row for people, but that's only ever happened in private readings when I'm just with myself and a client. And we'll do a double booking in the middle of a booking, things like that. So we have like big, long readings that go for hours. Well, let's have a look here. All right, let me just check. It might take, give me a few minutes, okay, West End, because it has to go all over the internet and through my PayPal and everything. A lot of this stuff just goes at the speed of light, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Let me just finish shuffling up here, and then we'll kind of go for it, all right? Just leave that here because I might come back and shuffle a bit more. I got to do a couple more things, and then we can kind of jump in. All right. Let's just stay there. Hold on. It's so long. I will be. No, I don't see anything here. You have to give it some time. I trust you. And sometimes it takes a while for things to come through. There it is. Alrighty. So I'm going to move all this stuff around. I'm trying to do lots of things at once. Alright, so we can actually do this. Thank you. Wow. God, that's... Seriously, West End, that's... Wow, 17. I started in February, at the end of February 2017. God, man, that's a long... 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, like 6 or 7 years. Wow. Alright, so here's what we're going to do, because you deserve it. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do capital. Reading number 2. Alright, change of subject. Alrighty, let's have a look, folks. Let me just check in over here. Okay. Well, I got kind of excited there for a while. I personally really enjoyed doing that reading with you, West End. I honestly didn't know what to expect, but everything became very, very clear once we got into it, okay? And I just hope it made sense and got some value for you. It's funny, you know, thank you again, West End, because there are now thousands of tarot readers and astrologers out there on YouTube, and most of them have grown and expanded way beyond my own channel because they, I would say, cater to, let's say, a certain audience that I guess I'm sort of out of sequence or something, because I've gone into the macro scale, global astrology, and I love to work with individuals. And I used to do all that stuff for individuals. All the readings for, all 12 signs, and the sun, moon, and rising, and all the new moons and the eclipses and the full moons and all the nodes and everything. And I love doing it up to a point. But it was impossible to run the channel if you're doing all of this work, but you're only getting paid this. And I just kept going, but now I'm getting paid this. So I ended up where I am now, where I just live off the donations, And when people do find their way here, I've often had a similar response, where this is actually the most accurate reading ever. It might not come out the way you wanted it or expected it, because a lot of readers will, I would say, flower things up a little bit, sparkleize and mystify and make things sort of like a ritualistic thing, which is great. But from my perspective, all we're doing is connecting the healing power of love from here to you. And I'm just an instrument, like a translator. That's all it is. Anyway, thank you, West End. Let's go over here now and get on with your reading. I'm going to check your notes again. I'd like to know what's coming your way with your love life, okay? What's stopping me from having a major relationship? Well, that's actually pretty well, the way you phrased that is actually pretty cool. Esther. Hey, Esther, I have a feeling you've been here before. Hello, Esther. All right, let's have a look. So what's going on with West End, the love life? What is this? What is stopping me from having a major relationship? Okay. I'm not going to say anything right now. Let's do the reading and see what comes up. I love to blame the astrology. Like right now, for example, there's tremendous polarity and tremendous stresses at this point here. Oppositions, okay? This resembles relationships. When I do astrology charts for people, if they have a very prominent Pluto opposition with anything else, that can really, really affect relationships in such a way that it makes it very hard to understand the dynamics of how and why relationships are working or not working. Esther just happened to see us online. Cool! Well, thanks for dropping by. We just did a reading for West End, and then she booked another one. Let's see. Right now, the planet Venus, the planet of love and relationships, for the last 4 or 5 weeks, has been in the orb of direct opposition with Pluto, for example. So in your situation, West End, I'm not doing an astrology for you right now, but for example, wherever this point lies in your chart, for example, 0 degrees Aquarius, 29 degrees Capricorn, wherever that is in a chart, that is under a lot of stress right now. And if that happens to be in the 7th house, we might have problems right there. The other part that's very stressful right now is Saturn in Pisces retrograde. Wherever you find the Neptune Pisces energy, wherever this is, it can indicate it's put it this way. The Neptune energy is very beautiful when it works. It represents universal love, the pure kind of love which is non-judgmental, non-conditional. And then what is the opposite of that? Conditional love, like, Oh, I love you. I guarantee, honey, I love you. But, ... As soon as you add the word but, you have a problem. If you say I love you, it means I love you. I love you, warts and all. I love you anyway. So, where Saturn is in a very difficult placement here, Saturn in Pisces, where a lot of people are feeling pain and losses and suffering. So wherever this point lies in your chart, it could feel like loss and suffering, confusion, sadness, depression. That doesn't make any sense. Very, very hard to analyze or psychoanalyze any of that energy. Figure it out. So for example, if you have a strong element, if this particular point here happens to be in your chart and it's over here, again, you might have very difficult dynamics in love and relationship that makes it feel like, what's going wrong? You can't put a finger on the problem. That would be very, very hard to diagnose. But I'm not doing that right now. That would be a full-blown reading. So let's just dive in, have a little quick diagnostics here. You just subscribed. Oh my God, we have a new subscriber. Thank you, Esther. You got to do the likes. You got to press the button, the bell thing, so that you get notifications. Because all that stuff was destroyed by my algorithm. I don't have a proper algorithm anymore. It's very sad. I've had professional YouTube optimizers do a lot of things to try and help my channel, and then they realized, wow, your channel really is screwed. I can't help you. I mean, they could if I probably had lots of money and I could pay them, but they would still run into the same obstacles that I run into, where you have a highly, highly broken algorithm. It isn't just damaged because it was broken. It was deliberately subverted. I was chosen to be guilty until proven innocent. I wasn't guilty of anything. Some people wanted to destroy me and my channel, and they effectively did. All right, here we go. All right, come on, West End. Let's have a look. What's going on? Why is it? Let's just see what it says, okay? We know this is about love and relationship and having a relationship of substance, you know? Hold on, I don't like the way that keeps buckling up. Let's do that. All right, shuffle. We're very nicely shuffled here. Let's just dive in, okay, people? Let's clear the space here. All right, here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the external influences, okay? So, what I'd like to do right now, what I'm trying to do over here, West End, so that you know, is I'm trying to center myself so that I'm fully, let's say, engaged here. What I need to feel in my chest, in my heart, in my soul, is that I am in full. I am in full connection with my invisible friends, guardian angels, spirit, the healing power of love, all of it. Let's have a look. Okay, we've got the Seven of Wands here. So, in a way, this energy is very courageous. It's like it's to me, it makes me feel as though you're in a position where the subject of dignity, this being your sovereign self, maintaining your integrity, your power, your light, your honesty, your true self is threatened by the energy of other people. Now, that could be any person. I'm not just saying a relationship, but anybody out there. So, what I'm sensing here is that deep, deep, deep inside of you, there are perhaps one or maybe two aspects that are actually very tender, very sensitive, very delicate, very fragile. And we all have that to some extent. But in your case, my feeling is that it's actually very specific. You might have some kind of stress point built into your natural chart. Maybe you've got a very, let's say, stressed out 7th house or something. I'm not sure. But it's such a point, it's at a point where you don't even know you're doing it. But oh God, let me do this. I'm going to have to go back on camera here. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, so what I'm sensing here with the Seven of Wands for you is that this is an external energy field that's almost like a default setting. And the Seven of Wands is kind of indicating what I would recognize as a astrology chart or profile of your soul, where there are, I'm sensing two trigger points that are very sensitive, very delicate, fragile, and it would relate to here some way, somehow. And your mind knows that, but it's not something you want to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And it's probably so deep that you might not even know it's operating there, kind of like not like a bug, not like an error code or anything like that, but like, for example, with the energy of Chiron, everybody is wounded somewhere, somehow. And it represents the energy of a non-healing wound. It doesn't matter what you do in life, that wound never heals. And when anything touches on that part of life, your life experience, it always hurts. And so what happens with a lot of people is they start to develop behaviors and strategies to cover up that part of their life because they can't stand the pain. It's too uncomfortable. And so they're always battling it. Now, you might have an aspect or perhaps two aspects, I'm sensing two, where you have developed a natural self-defense system where that's what you do, that's your default nature, is to protect that which is very, very vulnerable. And as soon as you get close to someone, and the closer that you get to someone, the greater the chance that that sensitive area could be damaged. And so, remember, this is just background to the actual reading, because the Seven of Wands is outside of you. And let's just say it's an astrological alliance that would correlate to your chart, where it's almost like whatever you do, wherever you go, your natural default setting is a defense posture against what could potentially be hostile or unacceptable situations or energy from a potential mate, a potential partner. Let's say someone's coming on really strong to you and you're actually attracted to them, and you get to the point where it's closer and closer and closer, and maybe there's some intimacy and everything and romance and dating and all of that. But then you reach that point where, like, oh God, they're getting too close. But all of that's happening at a very deep, deep soul level that you don't even know it's happening. because it's kind of like there from birth, okay? So how do you deal with that? And it would be so simple and really trite for me to come up and say something like, oh, you are your own worst enemy, or you are the author of your own demise. Of course, we all are. But the thing is, we need to be specific here, because we're talking about something at the very core, your heart, love, all of that, okay? So we're just doing some background here. Let's have a look. So what's the situation right now? The situation right now is almost like it would be so cool to enjoy the presence of someone who truly was able to love and understood what love really is. Being loving, being loved. And the King of Cups energy is, okay, so the king is masculine, male. But if you've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, West End, but there are a lot of male figures who, I guess they have to compensate for whatever they feel they're lacking, and they put on, or they create a facade of masculinity, which sometimes doesn't really correlate at all with what would be a really healthy, loving relationship. Like certain men who would be suitable for a loving relationship might appear or behave very differently to what you might expect. And in this situation, see, I don't want to say like, oh, I'm waiting for this guy. You're waiting for this guy. I could say that, but I don't really feel that for you. What I'm feeling is that you have the ability to attract this kind of energy where, in other words, a mate who really is truly a loving mate, who literally loves you as you are, who understands your flaws and all the fragilities, and is acute and is very much aware of the heart center of you. And that's what they would cherish. And instead of going after you based from traditional, early stage dynamics of like, oh, are you a good lay? Or, oh man, that was so awesome. Let's get married. Like, let's get drunk and let's get plastered. Let's get stoned and have sex and everything will be fine. I'm not. What I'm thinking about here is like where something would make your heart like blossom to the point where you don't have to be on guard. It would just be the opposite of this. And so with the King of Cups here, to me it makes me feel is that you have the equivalent energy inside of you that deserves this. Be loving, be loved. The thing is, this is where we haven't even got to this part yet, but I don't want to jump into this until I've said what I have to say, because seriously, the default settings and behavior of a lot of suitable mates, of a lot of suitors, doesn't come up to this standard. It's very different energy, radiating the energy of the King of Cups, rather than the energy of someone who's like very beautiful, physically attractive, excellent in bed with lots of money and power. Okay? This is a very different energy, but it's worth more than everything I just said. So it's almost like you're in a tricky spot, because it looks to me like you're very capable of being a very good, loving mate. The question is there an equivalent out there? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. What's the challenges here? Oh, So we've got the Nine of Swords. This makes me feel is that what we're talking about here is actually a little bit like we've touched a nerve, and I didn't really expect to. I don't think any of us expected to touch a nerve in this reading, but what I'm sensing is that we've really touched a nerve. And it's probably to do with, I don't know, personal things, subject things that we can't talk about or probably should not talk about live right now because they're too painful. And it's almost like anytime you get into a situation where there might be a possible suitor, let's say someone's very attractive to you, you're attracted to them, and you end up in the same situation. Damn, it's just not working because they're not quite up to this. And it just becomes over and over and over again, the same old thing. And then you start taking it out on yourself. It's like self-harm. Is it me? Is it me? Am I so unlovable? Doesn't anybody love me? Isn't there anybody capable of loving me? I'm not that horrible. I'm not that horrible. But maybe I am. Oh no, it's just... So I understand. I just think we've stumbled on a situation which is actually very delicate, very sensitive, very fragile. And maybe we got to reveal it to heal it. All right, how are we going to go forward, okay? Okay, this to me looks like a reality check. This is the Three of Swords. Do not be scared, okay? It's not a Cups card. It's a Swords card. What I'm sensing here is that it's really, really important to acknowledge everything that we've just discussed here so that you understand it's not your fault. You're not the one to blame for what is not working for a potential good, solid, loving, long-term, like a genuine, honest, loving relationship at this kind of caliber. Because honestly, this is pretty rare. If you can find anything close to this, that's fantastic. But in the meantime, it's very, very important to understand that, number one, in some ways you have been your own worst enemy because of what we described here, where you could be admonishing yourself, punishing yourself unnecessarily, because really it's, in a way, it's not your fault. It could be simply that, like, it's like from birth. My feeling is like from birth there is astrologically something that we would easily be able to pinpoint where we could go, aha, no wonder. Okay? But we're not doing that here tonight. So in the meantime, what do? You go forward on the understanding that there's a lot of betrayal and deception and lies and disappointment and treachery and cheating that goes on in the world of dating and love and romance and relationships. That's very common. That's very normal. It's not your fault. It's just the process of human evolution and natural selection. I know this is very painful, but natural selection in some ways is a very painful process because people select each other. Sometimes they make very bad decisions. Okay? Some people end up in very bad relationships, but they don't understand the dynamics, and so they just stay there and they just assume that that's love, that's life, that's their relationship. And a lot of people put up with that because part of it is they don't have a choice. Like, they got married, there's contracts, there's money, there's children, there's property, there's expectations, there's culture, whatever it might be. In this situation, I feel that in order to go forward, it's good to have a very, very healthy understanding that the world of dating and love and relationships is just riddled with all those horrible things I just described. And it's not your fault. It's just humans being humans. You just happen to be the sort of human being that probably has a very big heart and more than capable of being a very good loving mate to someone at this caliber, at this level. The challenge is, how do you get there? How do you find that? How do you get to the point where you can afford to let your guard down and you're actually dealing with someone who is a very loving person and they accept you and love you as you are, even with your fragilities and your weakness, whatever they might be. Going forward, it almost feels like, okay, there's your reading. Let me just go back over here because we're done, really. Okay? So, it's like, it's almost like, just imagine we're at a bar, okay? And we're just hanging out together. And you're telling me your sob stories. And I'm telling you my sob stories. And somebody overhears it. And they walk up and said, like, I'm sorry, I couldn't help overhearing. Like, what happened to you? Oh, man, that sounds like what happened to me. It was just awful. It was devastating. And then they look around like and then another person walks by is like, I couldn't overhelp hearing that. Excuse me, I don't mean to butt in. I don't know who you are or anything, but I just had this horrible blah, blah, blah thing happen, and I got totally screwed over, and I don't know what to do. Nobody loves me. I'm horrible. I'm ugly. I'm stupid. I'm everything. Do you see what I'm getting at here? It's just natural human behavior. You're as flawed as everyone else, and everyone else is just as flawed as you. But you can navigate these things, and it just really helps to understand that a lot of shitty things happen in the world of dating and love and relationships. And it's so important that you maintain your integrity, and when things get a little close, and there's hints of perhaps some intimacy, be prepared to allow that to happen. But if you smell something funny, if you already smell betrayal or deception or lies or someone who's just trying to get into your pants or whatever, it's probably not going to work out. And so don't force it. Don't just go for it because it's low-hanging fruit or whatever, okay? Anyway, thank you for that reading. I think we're going to wrap it up now. We only did two readings tonight. Both of them are for West End. I'm sorry we lost Henry Bryant. I'm sorry we lost the other scientist. I guess this got too weird and spooky for them. Anyway, you know what? I think I'm going to close out with a song. It's a song I wrote a while back, and it's kind of for lovers with broken hearts. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Give me a second here. There's a place that I go. The first lines are, there's a place that I go for the broken-hearted. Let's see. Here we go. I haven't played this in a long time. I hope you like it. Listen to the words, okay? Let's have a look. It should be coming up any minute.
There's a place that I go.
So, to me, I kind of wrote this as a bar song. Like when somebody's like this, it's like... But there's still hope. You'll hear when we go into the song. Okay, here we go.
For the broken-hearted.
It's a waltz. Just imagine I'm Elvis Presley and I've got a really good band from the 1950s, and it's super, super smooth, rich voice and very romantic, just like a really good Elvis crying song, okay? You have to use your imagination a lot, okay? That's all I'm saying.
There's a place that I go when I'm broken hearted. It's a place where everyone gets in the door, whether young, burnt out or old, or when you've got nobody to hold. You get some complimentary love, then you're free to slow dance on the floor. In this place that I go, there are others just like me. There's no shame, and despite your pain, there's no blame allowed. Where the music lifts you up, it lets you cry, then gently sets you down, with no judgments, and you're not just a face in a crowd. Sometimes, when it's quiet, you won't have to wait too long in line. You enter, then take your sweet time to pick and choose. So who you gonna tell your story to? And sometimes it gets so crazy, yeah, you'll be waiting for over an hour, but the bouncers, they'll find a way to squeeze you in for sure. Start getting too sentimental, there's a team that'll tear you apart, then put you back together better, so you can make a new start. Yeah, and it's okay just to sing. Ooh, feel your pain. Sing it, oh, 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 oh. Just get it out, get it gone, then reclaim your heart. Bless the love that you've lost, then move on. There's a place that I go when I'm broken hearted.
Okay, so that was a music video as well. A very cheap, super economy music video. Yeah. Yeah. Little Bubba is here, and he is trying to get me to feed him. So I'm going to get going now. It's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you again for hiring me to do your mini readings. Esther, what? Oh, was I supposed to do a reading for Esther? I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Okay, can you give me a break and I'll come back and we'll do a reading for Esther? Esther, did you put anything in the pot? Oh man, hold on. I wasn't sorry. I need to wake up a little bit here. I was completely unaware. I got immersed in my music video. Oh, let me go over here. Oh, gotta double check everything here. Esther, are you going to put anything in the pot? Let's have a look over here. I gotta shuffle around. I'm trying to. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't. Oh, so Esther, let me do a demo here. Here's how it works. Okay. So what you do is on another device or on your computer on another tab or something like that, you go over here. Okay, this is TarotLumination.com, and there's several pages. You go to the donate page, and you can press the donate button, and it brings up a payment processor. It's just like you're shopping at Amazon or eBay or, you know, Walmart or something, and you just swipe a card. Put in, you know, 10, 20 bucks or whatever if you're feeling rich. Okay? And then that will show up here. And then we'll get you your mini reading. I'm going to play a little bit of music. I'm going to feed the monster, little Bubba. And I'm going to top up my beverage, and I'll be back. And if there's something in the PayPal pot by then we'll do your reading. If not, then we'll just move on, and you can all have a super evening. Let's have a look here. I'm going to play a little song in the meantime. Yeah, you can do it from your phone. If you've got a phone and you can connect to the internet, you can go to TarotLumination.com, put it in the search bar, it'll come up. Waiting on. I'm going to play a little tune. Sing. I'm going to put I'm healing. Yeah, let's just wait to see what happens with Esther. I'm going to play a little song. Oh, okay. All right, let's have a look. I'm just going to play a little bit of music while I sort it out over here. I got to go through all the little, you know, I'm trying to do so many things on one computer. It's really tricky sometimes. Okay, here we go. I am healing. This is like ultra extreme yoga. Excellent, I'm back. I just topped up. I gave a little snack to the Baba Monster. So he should be okay for a few minutes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I got it, Esther. We're good. We're good. Super duper. Uh-oh, everything's screwed up now. What did I do wrong? Oh, man. What have I done? Stay with me, folks. Oh. Give me the... Okay, so... Yeah. It's not your favorite song. Okay. All right. All right. So all the browsers are screwed up. What did I do wrong here? Anyway, we're good. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go back there anymore tonight. I have to do... All right. All right. Let's have a look. All right, Esther. Everything's good. I'm going to get you your own magic post-it note. I really thank you for dropping by, randomly visiting like that. I'm just going to write your name over here. All right. All right. After that, no more readings tonight. After that, okay. Just going to put that on the side there. I'd love to. Okie doke. Thank you for giving me my I guess patient, giving me a chance to sort things out over here. Thank you, Esther, for your kind donation. Super duper. Super, super duper. All right. I think there's just a couple of us here at the moment. So we just have a nice little private, cozy setting. Oh, I see your smiley. Thank you. All right, now I don't see any particular notes for your reading, Esther, so if you like, I will do a completely blind reading. You don't have to say anything or do anything. It'll just come up with whatever it comes up with. If you do have a subject, the phrasing of the question is kind of important. For example, what I like to do is simplify things dramatically. In other words, something like this. Okay, it would be something like this. Dear TarotLumination, what messages do you have for me tonight regarding the subject of ... Could be anything. Typically on the astrology chart, I would look at the 12 sectors like home, family, finance, marriage, love, dating, spirituality, health, career, ambitions, education, travel, whatever it could be. All right, let's have a look. I'm going to go over here. Okay, you're 72, fairly good shape, wondering about your future. Okay, just let's leave it at that. What kind of notes do we have for Esther about the so-called future? Remember at the beginning of the show tonight, I talked about, I was watching videos about time. And how time, out there in the universe, it sort of, in a way, it doesn't exist. But for us, it's very, very real. Well, you're very lucky to be happy and content. Those are words that you don't see too often. Also, it's about attitudes and choices, because a lot of people literally do create their own misery. Like, so I've done readings for people on private readings and stuff, and I'll look at their astrology charts and I'll think, oh my God, this person is in really stress. There's a tremendous amount of stressors, but they figure a way around, you know. And some people have charts that look really harmonious, like everything should be wonderful, but their lives are just miserable chaos, you know. So it's a question of, what do you make of it? Let's just, for example, let's say you were born exactly at this moment in time, and you just popped out of your mother's womb, and this is your astrology chart. Then this would be your kind of blueprint for an astrological DNA. So you would be dealing with this Pluto loose opposition with Mars, very tight opposition with Venus. So there would be like extreme polarities and learning experiences in love and relationship, with Venus and Mars being so close to each other. Sex equals love, and love equals sex. It's not always that way. For some people, sex is very different from love. Sex is very different from relationships. Over here with the Taurus vibes, of course, it might be a life to do with, you know, physical substance, money, beauty, construction, property, houses, and whatever. I did your chart. I did? Oh, okay, shows how much I remember things. The thing, I don't like to admit this, but what I do is I don't really store people's information. Well, I do some of the charts. I have a whole roster of charts, but I don't memorize anything. And when I do big private readings for somebody, I create these files and I send them, but because I can't afford all the storage, I have to delete them on my storage later on so I can keep doing more readings for people. So in a way, it's just like I'm kind of like a little animal. You know, animals, they don't live in the past, they don't live in the future, they just live in the present. And so, you know, I have some clients where I've worked very closely for years, but sometimes I'll do a reading and I won't remember even the slightest thing. And oftentimes it's better that way. Living very, very much in the present. All right, Esther, let's see what's going on. It's nice to meet you, by the way. Thank you for hanging out with us. It's all love there. Okie dokie. Those are your words. All right, let's have a look. What kind of messages do we have for Esther tonight regarding context of her life right now and doing that thing that they do, like a little icon where, like, I wonder where things are going. Let's have a look here. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. And let's have a look at external influences. Okay, wow. We got the Six of Wands here. So this is something really to celebrate. It's like, honestly, Esther, I don't know you, but I'm just going to say it like I'm feeling it here. Have you ever heard that expression, a life well lived? That's what I'm sensing here. To me, it's very, very simple. It's very, very pure. I feel almost like we are in the presence of angels right now. And you know how you get these moments where you get these moments of sentiment like, oh my God, I remember when I was 7 and we did this and that and somebody screwed me over. Like, oh, do you remember that thing when, I had this business, or I had this lover, or I had this whatever, and I had my first betrayal. Oh, it was awful. Or I had my first something wonderful, but you dealt with it and you lived your life like one of those people who lived it in a way that's very pure and from the heart. Like, Bad things happened. Good things happened. And it was rich and full from the heart. And all the way along, you've decided, I'm going to do the loving thing. And in a way, over a very long, extended period of time, like where you are right now, you can sum it all up as a life well lived. You made decisions. A lot of times you made decisions that maybe you regret, but in general, when I think of a life well lived, it's something that's victorious. You're like a winner. There are a lot of people who do not have that. There are a lot of people who are like walking around like the living dead. They have physical bodies. They go from A to B. They do stuff. They earn money. They spend money. They make babies. People live and die in their lives. They come and go. They have tragedies. And so many people end up with lives that are like train wrecks as a result of decisions. Sometimes their own decisions where they either believed or trusted someone or something and they shouldn't have. Some people are very self-destructive, but with a life well lived, what it tells me is that you've come from a very pure position where, some really horrible things happened to me. And in fact, I might have done a couple of bad things to other people. But overall, I've been loving. You're coming from the position of love, being loving. Okay? And that is something, that's victory. Where you're being loving and being loved. So, whether you have a sweetheart or now doesn't even matter. It's knowing that you have been loving and you have been loved. It goes in episodes, chapters. With the Saturn cycles, you might have gone through years of great hardship and pain and suffering. But when you go for the full extent, I keep coming back to it, a life well lived. All right, let's have a look. Right now, let's have a look. Whoa. Okay, we've got the High Priestess here. I'm not going to bother with the initials B and J. There's something to do with very old Judaic, like cult symbols. I can't remember what they are, so just ignore them. With the High Priestess energy here, this is going to sound very counterintuitive for you, Esther, especially since you just donated to get a mini reading here live. This is an energy of deep mystery. It's almost like, have you heard my expression when I've been here before where I've said things like, dear guardian angels, dear spirit guides, dear Jesus, dear God, dear heaven, please bring to me that which is mine. Please take away from me that which is not mine, so I can live a life that is unencumbered, a life that is pure. If I've got karmic debt to pay, bring that to me so I can take care of it. If I am deserving of freedom and vacation and travel, bring that to me so I deserve it. Anyway, to me this makes me feel like the situation is right now, it's really like, it's almost like the worst thing you could do is ask for specific answers out of a tarot reading, and instead to lean on your natural gifts of making healthy decisions that translate into a win, which translates over a very long period of time of what's called a life well lived. And with the High Priestess, there's the energy of secrets and mystery. And right now, everything that you need to know, you know. Everything that is necessary for you to live your life and conduct your life to the highest standards that you've already established for yourself. It's already there. And anything else, you don't really need to know. In fact, it's better if it remains a mystery, a secret. It's almost like, to me, this feels like there's a delicious surprise ahead for you that could never possibly be discerned through a tarot reading. And it's yours when the time it comes. And that's all there is to it. It's a mystery. It's a secret. It's kind of beautiful in a way. It's being able to live and to continue to live without knowing what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. Obviously, people like to know because it brings them a sense of security, peace of mind, like, oh, how am I going to deal with that? What about this? What about that? But why not live in the present? And in the present, to me, it feels like there's a strong indication that whatever needs to remain secret and hidden and mysterious will simply have to stay that way. And that's all there is to it, even if you're frustrated by that idea. Because you already have a life, a good life in your own way. And that's as much as anyone could ever have to wish for. And in some ways, you have blessings beyond what many other people have. Now, what's the challenges here? I want more. I want more excitement. I want more. I mean, do you see the correlation here, Esther? This is a life well lived. And if you already have a certain love of life, a certain love for life, a certain respect for life, a certain understanding of what life really is. In other words, it's like an adventure and a journey. And if that's what it is, it might as well be fun and satisfying and rewarding for you, because that's the best thing that you can do for yourself, is to be the most, let's say, successful person that you can be for yourself, because that's what allows the most love to radiate through you to the rest of the world around you. So with the Ace of Wands here, it makes me feel like, oh my God, am I ever going to have any more fun? I've already had this, I've already got that, but I want more. I deserve more. I still want to go on adventures. I still want to have love. I still want to have romance. I still want to... I've said it already. I basically like be with people that I love to be with. Do things that I like to do. Go places that I like to be. I want that. I love that. But I'm scared I might be denied that possibility. I want that opportunity. I deserve it. I've had all this. I know what it's like to be happy. I know I'm not going to be privy to all the secrets of life. And I want to know what's happening because I like living life in a way that's good. Am I going to be denied? Oh, no, no, no. All right, let's have a look. How are you going to deal with that? I don't really see a problem here, but let's have a look. Ooh, to me this is exciting. We've got the Hanged Man here. Don't be scared of that. To me, what this is telling me is to deliberately throw yourself into the pool of suspense, the pool of not knowing. Just imagine you have been blindfolded. Well, not blind. Well, okay. Oh, like, imagine that you have been, let's say, okay, I'm just going to elaborate a little bit here. Let's say you just decided, I'm going to get myself a tarot reading. It's going to tell me everything I need to know. And now the tarot reading is telling me that there's a lot of things that you don't need to know. What kind of tarot reading is that? Well, I'm just the tarot reader. It's up to you what you do with it. But when I see the Hanged Man there about how to proceed, because you might be frustrated, like, I want to know what's happening. What's the thing? Am I supposed to move? Should I go out more? Should I take more exercise? Should I be more sociable? Should I be deliberately seeking out adventures? You know, life's not over yet. Life is not over yet by any means for you. So it's like, well, what happens now? And when I see the Hanged Man, it makes me feel like, are you telling me, TarotLumination, you telling me that I'm not supposed to know? That I'm supposed to just accept whatever comes my way and submit myself to the mystery? I'm a person of action. I'm a person of a life well lived. I do stuff. I act. I make decisions. I go places. I do things. And now you're telling me to just accept the unknown? Ooh. Okay, well, that's what I'm sensing, okay? It's like sometimes it's better not to know. It's almost like the recipe here is to deliberately place yourself into a position of suspended animation where you know that you don't know what's coming. And with this reading, you're not even supposed to know what's coming. In fact, what's supposed to happen is that you completely surrender to the unknown, and then you allow life to happen to you, and then you translate that back into what works, which is basically adventure. And in other words, it's almost like, if I could define the word adventure, if you think of your life as an adventure, it's almost like the feeling of like, I'm going to go somewhere, do something, be somebody, have something, feel something that doesn't exist at this very moment. It's there, and that's the adventure. But there isn't a specific definition. The actual adventure is your life itself. So like, what's the bleep is going to happen tomorrow? And so you just allow that to happen. Love Triber just chimed in. Take delight in the surprises. Okay, so I'm going to go back to where I was over here. Let's do a little mini invocation. Let's keep it really, really simple. Okay, Esther, just pretend I'm you, okay? And I'm looking in the mirror, or I'm out in my backyard, or I'm sitting outside somewhere, or let's say you're somewhere in public and you're in nature. You can just kind of do this, like, dear heaven, dear angels, dear guardians, all my wonderful invisible friends that are with me all day, every day. I know you love me. I don't know exactly who you are, but I love you too. Maybe, friends from earlier in life, or pets, or anything, or my mom or dad. Figure it out. Help me. Please send to me that which is mine. Please take away from me that which is not mine. I just don't need to deal with it. And so then, so it is spoken, so it is done. And that's your little mini prayer. And then just let it take care of itself. Surrender to the universe. The universe will bring you your adventure. Okay, so that's your mini reading, Esther. I hope you liked it and got something out of it. Thank you very much for your kind donation. We're going to wrap it up now. It's been an interesting, fun, quirky, weird evening. Love you guys. We'll do this again. It was nice to have those newbies and visitors and everything, even though they disappeared pretty quickly. Anyway, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to find another little song. Hopefully West End will like this one. I could play I Surrender or I Am Guided. But they're kind of like sad in the background. I'm just going to play a little piece of music and discreetly, gently say goodnight, okay, everybody? Enjoy the Gemini new moon. Make the best of it. It's picking up momentum right now. In a couple of days, the moon will be out of Cancer and into Leo, and there will be strong harmonious energy between the sun and the moon. Enjoy it. It's fun energy. Even though there are some crazy, horrible things happening in the world, you could still choose to be happy from the inside out, okay?